Loser. Tommy K. I saw you complain in chat 2 hours ago about not dragging you in. Here you are. You made it.
I've been, holy shit, 1 second. Let me mute stream. Yeah, I've been complaining for a while.
Yep. Well, you're here now. You made it.
All right. Wow, feels great. So, get right into it. Do you think America deserved 9/11?
Deserved is a rough word. I say they earned it.
Earned.
Yeah.
Would you say it was justified?
Justified. Is it ever justified to attack and kill civilians, even in response to your own civilians being killed? I don't know if I'd say justified. That's a tall order. If I say that attack, that type of terrorism is justified, then I feel like we can justify almost any act of terrorism. I'd say probably not justified. No.
I'm pretty much fully with you there. So, just a fuck you, Merca. Just wanted to resolve that first.
Damn.
All right, here's one. Do you think under Biden, the world has become a more safe place?
I mean, I'd say no, but I don't think it's Biden's fault, right? I think the Russian shit is kind of like fucking everything up right now.
Yeah, but it's not just Russia. It's also Taiwan, and it's also Iran, and also Afghanistan, I guess.
I think I haven't heard us making any mistakes with Afghanistan. I don't know why Pelosi went to Taiwan. I don't know.
So Al-Zak, fuck, I'm gonna butcher his last name. Al-Zakwari, something like that.
The
he was
Al-Qaeda
the guy
guy
who basically, like he's literally living in the Green District, like the most secure portion of Afghanistan. And if you can't, I don't know, that just feels like they're harboring terrorists all over again.
Well, hold on, but like this is a guy that was probably the one that planned 9/11. But like, is he still planning stuff actively against the United States?
I mean, who knows? I mean, that's
well, if we're gonna kill him, we should know, right?
Well, no, it doesn't matter. You can kill him. No, it doesn't matter if he's still doing it or not. If he's
it's pretty important.
That's going to get him. I don't think so.
I think it's pretty important because I think it's important to send the message to the Taliban that like, as long as you guys like do your shit over here, you know, go work with Pakistan, go fuck with India or something. Just stay the fuck away from U.S. interests. As long as they do that, I think we can kind of.
I think that's extremely
What's the statute of limitations on 9/11, Destiny?
The statute of limitations is we left Afghanistan is under the agreement that like stop harboring terrorists or fucking with our shit. And as long as you stop fucking with us,
no, I think it's kind of important to demonstrate like a commitment to getting somebody who
I disagree. I'm going to be honest with you. Less than 1% of Americans even know that motherfucker's name. Most people think Bin Laden was solely responsible.
It doesn't matter. It matters to people who may wish to design like to fucking do harm to America in the future. That we're not going to stop it. Maybe 20 or 30 years from now, but we're going to get you.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because here's it's not obvious. Because if you set the precedent that we're still going to be penetrating into Afghanistan to assassinate people, well then fuck, who cares if the U.S. left? They're like we're going to go back to doing what we did before, where Afghanistan is going to be harboring terrorist interests that are going to be contrary to U.S. interests both in that region and abroad. And now we're back to literally square zero. At the very least, we can walk away with is it a Pyrrhic victory or Pyrrhic victory, where it's like, okay, Afghanistan sucked and everything got fucked, but at least we have the mutual understanding that we're not going to fuck with them and they're going to stop harboring people fucking with us.
No, but they're not. Iran's still crossing the border. They were the ones that we were fighting for the most part. Their proxies for the last 20 years, and we haven't gone there. Like, yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Okay, who do you think killed most of the Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan?
Like the Quds Force and like Soleimani and like the stuff that he was leading out of Iran. Sure.
Yeah, and all their proxies. Yeah.
But that was U.S. soldiers on foreign soil. So it
doesn't matter.
It matters. 9/11 is way different. Listen, I don't want to sound anti-American or whatever, but U.S. troops on foreign soil is fair game for other people that have interest in that foreign soil. Like that's part and parcel of doing war, right?
Yeah. So then why can't we expand the fight and take it to Pakistan or Iran? It's fair.
Well, because if they're not doing anything to us in our country or doing anything at least to our like very key interests, I think that.
Okay, so then why don't we start shooting down Russian MiGs?
What?
And why don't we shoot down Russian MiGs in Ukraine? It's their soldiers in a foreign country fucking around there.
Well, because we don't want to fuck. For obvious reasons, you know why we don't do that.
What do you mean? If we're not going to deter them, what's the point of deterrence? If we're just going to say, oh, they have nuclear bombs, we just can't do anything to them.
Well, that's kind of the reason why people get nuclear bombs. What do you mean?
Yeah, and that's a fucking dangerous world when every single tin pot dictator thinks they need a nuclear bomb in order to ensure the security of the nation.
Yeah, but I don't think deterrence is an effective. Deterrence doesn't seem to be an effective strategy for preventing like international blowback from people like fucking ISIS or Al Qaeda. If we have like a key interest over there that we need to defend, like if Saudi Arabia starts getting fucked by like Iranian drones or some shit, and
Yeah,
we want to go hang out in the Strait of Hormuz or whatever the fuck it's called. We want to hang boats out there, bring carriers. Fine, that's okay. But other than like key allies in the area, we probably should pull back from that theater a bit, unless there's something like we have a really key interest, something that's really important to defend. Having our hands everywhere means that we can get poked from anywhere, which means that we're just going to start, like, imagine if Afghanistan goes back to square zero and we're just like, there are like terrorist groups there that are planning attacks against us again. Isn't that like the worst of all worlds?
Well, that's literally happening right now with Al Qaeda being the green zone and with ISK literally assassinating senior levels of the Taliban government.
Well, yeah, but
like
the question is, Al
what's
Qaeda
happening.
currently planning terrorist attacks against the United States? Is that like a thing that's going on?
Not yet, but they're still around, and they're still spawning offshoot groups who are planning attacks.
I mean, if they, insofar as if they start doing that, then, you know, we can go back and bomb shit. But I just think we probably want to be careful not to, yeah, be too crazy about interfering there and getting like more crazy shit going on. But I just think it's a bad like, we don't want to go back to fighting with everybody in the Middle East. Like, fuck. Like, that's how we get another Afghanistan invasion.
Well, I mean,
don't
the
think the
alternative is that you just give people carte blanche to just fucking plan terrorist attacks in the United States, and so long as they're in a country where it would be difficult to carry out boots on ground operations or something like that, then they just get to get away with it forever. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we just have to be careful, because the problem is you're setting yourself up for these infinity wars, right? You have to recognize
That's
that
what
there's
happens
going
when
to be...
there's totalitarians in the world.
It's not about totalitarians, okay? We're not fighting in fucking Yemen on behalf of Saudi Arabia for democracy, okay? Right? That, like, there's a lot of stuff that we're involved in with allies across the world where we're defending our interests, but those interests aren't noble. They don't have the moral authority. Saudi Arabia doesn't have the moral authority to go back in and recapture Yemen after the last fucking plutocrat that looted the country, you know, fled and got kicked out. And I understand, I'm not trying to say that the Iranian-backed people or Hezbollah or Hamas or the Quds Force or these people are necessarily good guys either. But if we're going to be jumping into all of these conflicts over and over again, then I don't know. Defending Ukraine is a noble prospect. I think defending Israel is a noble prospect. But getting your hands involved with like some of these fucking Gulf states and shit, I don't know, man.
Okay,
That's
so
just...
how are you going to do that if you can barely defend against their attacks when they're with conventional weapons? How are you going to do that when the entire region's now gone nuclear through proliferation?
If they go nuclear, they go nuclear. Like, we threw away the joint pact of action or
that's-
whatever with Iran. We threw that away. Like, if we want to keep them from going nuclear, then we need to re-engage with that.
No, it's gone. They already have.
Then it's over. Then we do another Stuxnet and try to blow the reactors up. Or but I mean,
you can't stop them at this point.
Yeah, you can't stop them. Then what do you do?
It's what you should have done the last 2 years. The things that Israel was trying to do, assassinating their scientists in the middle of the streets, or just military operations against the reactors in the other places.
Yeah, but you're not.
You cannot.
At that point, you're talking full-scale war.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm just not in favor of that. But all right.
I just don't know if assassinating one member of Al Qaeda begs that sort of escalation.
Maybe not.
Know.
Maybe it's understandable. Maybe that's a kill we get, and they're like, you know what? Okay, America, you know, we see you. You know, maybe that's understandable then. Who knows? Maybe they let it slide. But it seemed like they kind of let the Soleimani dude. They let him slide because we killed him. They got real mad. They're like, we don't fuck shit up. I think they launched like 3 rockets out of Tehran. I think they accidentally blew up one of their own airplanes and like, okay, now stay away from us or some shit. So who knows? Maybe, but.
It was a pretty clear demonstration of force projection and how Iran is not going to go to war with someone that they'll just get fucking steamrolled by. We were maybe a little bit lucky, but yeah, at the end of the day, you know.
The thing that I want to see out of U.S. foreign policy, if we get involved with these countries, is we need a clear mission. I just don't want to get involved in more infinity wars. If we have a clear goal or clear mission or whatever, then fine, fucking, let's do something.
Yes.
But the like infinity war shit, fighting on borders and playing around with cheesy assassinations and supporting weird countries that are doing weird shit, I don't like getting caught up in that because we don't know what we're even trying to do.
It can be successful. And yeah, there was a lot of vagueness in the war on terror, especially by the end when like things had developed and sort of spun out of control. But I think that was more a product of not going in there with a very solid plan, and maybe some people that mess things up along the way, and like maybe our consent being manufactured a little bit about our entire reason for being in Iraq. Like, it could have gone another way, but we kind of messed it up. I don't know, like our entire recruitment apparatus of like getting people pissed off and thinking that they were going over there to kill people in retaliation for 9/11, resulting in like a bunch of like really fucked up war crimes and shit. I don't think it's necessarily or inherently a bad thing. We have successes with that in our past. We have Japan, we have South Korea. It's a shame that we haven't been able to realize that in other places, but it doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just like we just have to be careful with like the types of infinity wars we pick. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, Afghanistan is a tricky one for a lot of reasons, right? Like it's bordering fucking the 2 other superpowers that we're concerned about, our 2 biggest global adversaries, and like and even actually pretty much fucking all of them. It's like cradled right in there, huh?
Yeah, sure, because Pakistan is supporting them a
Around
fuck ton
China.
militarily. You've got
China,
Russia
Russia,
supporting
Iran,
them. You've
yeah.
got China that's sending shit over to them. Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's a dangerous one. Yeah, Iraq would have been better. At least there's some, it's like somewhat proximal to, Eastern Europe and Israel and shit like that. And yeah, Lebanon we're pretty friendly with, and Saudi Arabia. But yeah, Afghanistan's was always going to be a tough one. And our mission only ever should have been in Afghanistan, maybe like rooting out Al Qaeda, getting basically a revenge mission for 9/11 or something like that. But trying to nation build in Afghanistan was always going to be tough, and we kind of just fucked it up. Maybe it was possible.
Or there was like doing I think like the surge was okay. We sent in a fuck ton of troops. We fucked this shit up a little bit, and then we walk out and leave. But the nation building in Afghanistan, I think, was probably a mistake.
Well, the problem was, what do you really do? Because we asked the Taliban government whether or not we could go hunt Al Qaeda there, and they said no. So we said, all right, well, we have to treat you as hostile. And then what do you do once you kill the power structure in a nation? Like, what's the right thing to do? Is it to just say, well, we just fucking killed all your
Create a
government?
power vacuum and then let anybody right.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, well, we kind of have to do this at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true, because this is what happened happened with the NATO missions in Libya, right? Where we basically fuck shit up. Gaddafi's dead, and we're like, good luck, clean up. I mean,
and then I guess even when you go beyond that, it's like, all right, well, now there's a power vacuum. Well, Iran's trying to fill it, and no one wants Iran to be expanding their power. So it's like we're stuck doing this, and we're not willing to go blow up Iran as well.
Sure. Well, I mean, whatever we did didn't work. Indecision is decision, and that's what we had for like fucking 20 years between Afghanistan and Iraq. So, yeah, I don't know. We just need clear
Failure at a lot of points. It was more than
I feel like the failure was like consistently just mission creep. Like it felt like if you were to ask somebody like, what the fuck are we doing in Afghanistan? What is the mission? I don't know if there was ever like a clear, maybe internally, or if you're privy to some, whatever the daily briefings are, maybe internally there was a clear mission, but externally, and from what I can see, it doesn't seem like there was ever a clear idea. There were so many problems in that country. There was if you read the Afghanistan papers, the amount of money that was being poured into that country was unfucking believable.
It wasn't that much money into actually building infrastructure.
Maybe not to building it, but there were like blocks that were like, scheduled to be getting like millions of dollars like a month in investment, and like nobody knows where a lot of the fucking money went to, other than them, I guess, becoming like expert fucking opium traders and shit. Yep. But yeah, I don't know. That it was just, I think the mission creep, it's just like doing like software development. I think mission creep is always like your biggest enemy, where you don't know what the fuck you're doing and stuff just gets out of control. And then also we have to be careful when we build nations. The assumption that like every nation wants to be like a Western style nation like the U.S. is probably a bad assumption.
Afghanistan wrote their own constitution. It was more or less a copy paste of the one that they had before the Taliban. So that was on them. That wasn't us.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know enough about. I do know that Iraq being fucked up was largely on us because of how we went about destroying the last power structure. But I don't know. I don't know enough about Afghanistan.
Everybody. Yeah, they said everyone who was a Ba'ath Party member is now no longer
allowed to participate in the government, and it was a single party rule, so every single politician was Ba'ath, so you're like completely fucked or Ba'ath. Yeah, dumb, stupid. I don't know.
Misspoke.
Yeah, and then all the career military men who are officers, well, now they can no longer practice their career, so what are they going to do? The only people who are going to pay them are the terrorist organizations in Iran.
Mm-hmm. And then you lose all your military expertise as well, and like half the soldiers being paid on that military weren't even fucking real people. It was like ghost soldiers and shit. And just everything was a fucking nightmare. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
it was a great opportunity that we just royally fucked. And it brings it. It's not fun to think about what the world could have been like if we had handled it better. I don't know. It sucks on so many levels. I mean, what led to Iran being destabilized in the first place? And listen, I'm like way out of my element. This is not my wheelhouse, right? I'm Asia Pacific guy, but I understand that like leading up to like Afghanistan being destabilized and falling into the hands of the Taliban in the first place was like the result of political unrest. They didn't really have their stuff. They were like sort of mid-revolution when like Russia, invaded them in the first place, or political revolution or something like that. There was a lot of political turmoil leading up to Afghanistan being in the place that it was, that led to Al Qaeda and the Taliban and shit like that. So I don't know, like. Mm-hmm. Even gauging how many people in this country would have been amenable. What is the history? What is the culture? Like how do we start measuring how potentially successful a liberal democracy could be if we were to set up a successful one here? Mm-hmm. And just like this new sort of age of proxy wars being the sort of it's like a new Cold War of proxy wars, mm-hmm. and Afghanistan being cradled in there with all of our adversaries just made it such a fucking Herculean task.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Actually, I would have to do a lot more history into it because I don't know. Somebody in chat brings up a good point too. Why has Eastern Europe been so successful in doing that? Especially like the Baltics, and Poland really, truly, largely. Maybe not once you get down to the to the Yugoslavia and the Balkans and everything, but like Northeastern Europe seemed to do a pretty good job at moving in a positive direction. I don't know how or why.
Well, even in Eastern Europe, it seems like a big part of it was probably just like, being in the Soviet Union, being behind the Iron Curtain sucked and was like really restrictive, and they could just like peer over the wall and look at all these liberal democracies doing much better. And so like the choice to them was really clear, but it's not the case in Afghanistan. They're so far removed from everything.
Maybe, I don't know.
Also, I think with Afghanistan, there's not really as much fear as your neighbor going to take you over as there is in East Europe. And so their choice was either become a liberal democracy and integrate with West Europe or go back under the Soviet bloc, especially after Georgia in 2008.